Welcome back to Bookmas Besties. If you're new here, my name is Savannah and I'm currently posting for a week straight leading up to Christmas for Bookmas. So I wanted to do some kind of book recommendation video for Bookmas, but I didn't really feel like doing like winter recommendations or Christmassy book recommendations. So I decided I'm just gonna be doing an all-encompassing recommendation video and walking you through my bookshelf and telling you every book that I recommend on the shelves and why I recommend it. Yeah, we're gonna switch angles here soon, go into the living room where my bookshelf is. Andrew's gonna film for me, so if the angles are bad, blame him, not me. Just kidding, he's the best stage boyfriend ever, so I'm sure he's gonna do amazing. But yeah, I have changed my bookshelves around a little bit since I last did a bookshelf tour. When I was at like 2 months ago, honestly, my bookshelves change like every other month because I read new books, add new books to the shelves, and I just really enjoy reorganizing them and changing them up. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the recommendations. This is so funny, I've never had Andrew film me before. But welcome to our little bookshelf corner. I recently reorganized it, so these are all fantasy, these are all romance, and then we have Andrew's little shelf, my little YA mysteries, fiction, nonfiction. And I like it better this way because I feel like I have them, I don't know, split up better. But should we start with Andrew's shelf up here? Well, so I haven't read any of these because they're his, so I don't know what I recommend from them. Do you have any recommendations?
This one right here is really good. If you like just like some dude telling his life story, there's a lot of good lessons in it. Like
streams to the ocean.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Slay. Okay, now we'll move on to my little YA mystery slash thrillers. Absolutely love anything by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've actually only read the first two and then Inheritance Games. I don't have the second one because I rented it on Libby. Natural series is also so good. Love A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, even though I've only read the first book in the series so far. And then I have these two Lucy Foley books. Those aren't YA mysteries. I wouldn't really recommend The Paris Apartment, but I did really like The Guest List when I read it. But as you can tell, I don't read a lot of mysteries and thrillers. So if you're looking for someone who like has more refined taste, I'm not your girl. But moving on, now we have fiction. Up here is like all of my favorite fiction books, so I would literally recommend every single one of these books. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Three that I have here, Malibu Rising, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Daisy Jones and the Six, all take place in the same interconnected world. It's basically like historical fiction through, well, this one follows a long time period. This one's in the 80s, this one's like the 70s, I think maybe. I don't normally like historical fiction, but these are so interesting because the characters are so fleshed out and it's also so fun that they're like all in the same universe too. Okay, then we have my Frederick Bachman books. As you guys probably know, literally all of these are 5 stars for me. I love his writing so much. If you want something that is very heartfelt, deep, but also fun and like witty, definitely recommend his writing. My Gabrielle Zevin books, more 5-star reads that I love. Both of these made me laugh and cry. And then Sally Rooney, my girl. My favorite is obviously Normal People. This book and this show on Hulu are like 2 of my favorite pieces of media ever. Where the Crawdads Sing is a book that really got me back into reading a few years ago. It's almost like a historical fiction mystery. It's so good. And then we have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't know how to say his name. Haven't read this one for a while, but this is more of like a spiritual discovery of finding meaning type of book. I don't even know, but I remember finding it really impactful when I read it. Down here, let's see, what do I recommend of these? Love Ellen Hildebrand if you're looking for a nice summery atmospheric read. Last Chance Library was such a sweet, heartwarming story. If you just want something to like feel good this holiday season, I really recommend this. Little Women, I obviously love so much. The rest down here are kind of like my nonfiction books. We don't really talk much about nonfiction on this channel, but I guess 2 of my favorites are down here. This is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. It's her memoir. Is this like so close to my face right now? Okay, awesome, thanks. This is her memoir, and it's one that I'm definitely gonna reread because I got a lot out of this book, and it was also just so entertaining to read about her like gallivanting around London as a crazy teenager and girl in her 20s. This is The Art Thief by Michael Finkel, and it's nonfiction because it's about the most notorious art thief in history. I think his name's Stefan Breitweiser. But the way he writes the book makes it feel like you're reading a fiction story, it makes it very, very interesting. It was just fascinating reading about all the crazy heists that this guy was able to pull off. It's very like Ocean's 11 vibes. Now we have our romance section in the middle. Up at the top, we have Emily Henry, of course. And I recommend every single one of these books. I think my favorite is Happy Place. However, I need to do a book lovers. I want to reread all of them. Happy Place is the only one that I've reread. So I might come back with a new favorite once I do some rereads. But you really can't go wrong if you're looking for a genuinely really good romance book with a lot of literary fiction elements. There's always more plots going on than just that romance plot. And then we have my babies, the Magnolia Park series. We have the UK editions and the US editions. And of course I recommend these. I recommend these with my whole heart, but I also understand that they are not for everyone. I feel like you either love this series or you hate this series, and I fall in the loving this series category, obviously. And sweet, sweet Andrew behind the camera got me the special edition of Into the Dark for Christmas that I'm so happy about. Oh my gosh, you can see me in the mirror. These are my Legos that I built the other night. Andrew also got me a Lego set of a bunch of little succulents. I've only built these two so far, but there's like so many for me to build. I can sit down right here. This is kind of nice. Do you want to sit down on that? Right here are honestly like some of my favorite romance books. We have the Heartstopper series. This is a graphic novel series, so there's pictures. They're super fast and easy to read. It's about these two boys in the UK who are in high school. Charlie is openly gay, and Nick is like kind of discovering who he is, and it's their love story. The sweetest, most heartwarming books ever, but there's actually a lot of also deeper elements because it discusses a lot of the hard things that you go through in high school, and Charlie experiences a lot of struggles as well. If you've never read a graphic novel before, definitely try these out. They're the only graphic novels that I've read, but they're so good. I recommend all of Abby Jimenez's books. I recommend all of Ashley Poston's books, but A Novel Love Story wasn't my favorite. And then it's kind of funny, I feel like Bride and Not in Love, not my favorite of Ali Hazelwood. I don't like have my favorite of hers in physical copies, but I did really like Check and Mate, which is her only YA book. But I really liked that one. I have my like small town romance books, and then Better Than the Movies right there. Obviously recommend everything. Elsie Silver, even though these are the only 4 that I've read so far, I will be finishing both of those series at some point. Down here we have a little more romance. I recently read Don't Be in Love, and I haven't stopped talking about it because I'm obsessed with it. I loved these books this summer. Very good summertime reads, and The Paradise Problem is as well. How you doing, Andrew? You okay? You're doing great, thank you. Now we move on to our fantasy side of the shelf. It's a little dark. Yeah, it might be. Should we close the blinds? Up here, we have more of my babies, Throne of Glass. Obviously, I'm gonna recommend this to you. It is quite the commitment, but it is worth it. I am currently reading Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms, the tandem read, but my goal is to have them finished and Kingdom of Ash by the end of the year. This is one of the series that got me into, or the series that got me into fantasy, the first fantasy series that I read, so definitely recommend it. It will make you only ever want to read fantasy again. This is maybe my second favorite series next to Magnolia Parks, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. She gets a dedicated shelf because I love her books so much. I wish I had like all paperback or all hardback, but we'll handle that one day. I have this special edition, A Curse of True Love, that's so pretty. I definitely recommend Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I do recommend that you read Caraval first, but it's not essential to reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. YA fantasy. I literally love all of these series. My favorite is probably Divine Rivals. Kind of gives like historical fiction World War II vibes, but the war is between the gods, and then there's these magical typewriters that these two war correspondents are communicating with each other on, and it has the most beautiful poetic love story ever. I love that book so much, but I love all these other series as well. Okay, my last 2 shelves. These are my adult fantasy shelves. I think this is actually a YA book, but the colors look better together here. Love Olivia Blake. My favorite is Masters of Death. Love Emily Wilde series for a little cozy fantasy read. These are kind of like my cozy fantasies right here. I just read The House in the Cerulean Sea, and this was so, so, so good and sweet. I honestly love all these books. I recommend Midnight Library, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, all of these if you want like a feel-good fantasy book. Quite deep as well. Okay, last shelf right here. Beautiful. I love the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I'm so excited to continue it. It is a fantasy series with vampires. I loved Fourth Wing. Couldn't get into Iron Flame, so we'll see about the next book, how I feel about that series. Love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, love Metal Slinger, and love The Unmaking of June Farrow. I recommend all these books so much. This honestly, I said in my Goodreads review, gives like magical Where the Crawdads Sing vibes. And then this one, V.E. Schwab's writing is just so beautiful and amazing. I feel like I've never annotated a book like I annotated this one because the like feelings and things she put into words, so beautiful and poetic. And then Metal Slinger is just a really good, fast-paced, new fantasy book. It's on Kindle Unlimited if you want to read it there, and it's like one of my new faves.
That's all of them.
Okay, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you got some good recommendations, and hopefully I'll see you back here tomorrow for the very last day of Bookmas. Can you believe it? 7 days are almost complete. Bye!